Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Wrestle Patter with myself, Chris, and my tag team partner,
Jamie
Moon, in the building. So, what did we do this week then, Jamie? What did we just get done watching?
So we just wasted 2 hours and 40 minutes of our lives watching the infamous Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view.
Heroes of Wrestling.
And so what we thought was, how can we get that time back? Well, you know what, Chris? Time is money, and we thought we'll make some money out of this.
We'll try.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I remember when we were coming up with episode ideas for this, and you said the Heroes of Wrestling, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I thought it actually was. So from the Jake the Snake, the resurrection thing, there's a part in that, or it might be Beyond the Mat. I can't remember. Right, it's one of the two, and there's a part where he's walking through this fucking school gym, and he looks done in, and I thought it was that.
Oh no! So I think that was an indie event in probably the late 2000s.
Right.
No, so that would have been the Resurrection of the Jake the Snake documentary.
Okay.
Is that the one where the wee guy, he comes out and he says, "You're a piece of Jake." No, piece of shit Jake. And he's
I think so.
just
I think so, but I thought it was that. What we just watched was definitely looked way better than that, but then once it got going, it was a bit like...
So there's been, when I was doing research and looking up episode ideas, many of the lists of the worst wrestling pay-per-views this was the worst one. This
Really?
was the worst, yeah. And at first, internet, there's a lot of hyperbole on the internet.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it won't be as bad, but now that we've just finished watching it, I mean, my brain's broken, man. I don't know how to start this at all.
Nah, I tuned out like a good couple times, man. Was just sitting on my phone, just couldn't really. I was trying to keep up with it, but it was a hard watch. But should we try and break it down to some sort of degree?
Yeah, sure. So, for anyone who hasn't heard of the Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view, it was a one-night event that took place on October the 10th, 1999, during the height of the Attitude Era, at the Casino Magic Hotel. Now, the idea for this was...
by the way, just interrupting,
No.
Did you see the logo for the Casino Magic Hotel? It was plastered everywhere. Did you see that logo?
Oh, it was in the background of all the promos.
It was so bad. It was like a paint, like a comic... like a Comic Sans MS font or something, and like
A wee shooting star or something underneath it.
yeah, it wasn't pretty. But sorry.
No, it's fine. So the principal idea of this event was to bring the biggest legends of wrestling during probably the 80s, the golden era of wrestling,
Yep.
and bring them into dream matches. And unfortunately, most of these wrestlers are, for lack of a better term, they're past their sell-by dates, and one in particular is pretty drunk. So
Aye, that was
the
a
one,
sad sight to a degree.
the one and only
Yeah,
Jake the Snake.
it definitely did seem that most of them couldn't really go anymore, didn't it? I mean, some at the end up there, Jim the Anvil. I think he could have went. He still looked pretty good. I thought he could have got a good bit of time in there if he had a better opponent. But I think the fact that he had Jake the Snake, it seemed a wee bit.
Yeah, it kind of
Weathered.
cut him off in his tracks, and also Jim Neidhart, he's kind of known more as a tag team wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any examples of where he was the designated ringleader of a one-on-one match.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I never actually thought about that.
Which I think is why the singles match ended up becoming a tag team match halfway through.
Yep.
It was...
Which we will get to that. That was...
Yeah, we're
that was
kind
probably the
of
most
jumping the gun.
that was the most confusing part of the whole episode, in my opinion.
Well, should we start from the beginning then?
Let's start from the top. You want to take us through the... Well, wait a minute. Who actually promoted this? Because that might give us a wee bit more insight, if anyone even would know who it is. But it definitely was a shit show from the off, as we'll tell you. But
so from the Wikipedia article there, and I
Yeah.
know Wikipedia is the most trustworthy source of all time, but it's the one we'll take right now. Playing off the resurgence in popularity of pro wrestling at the time, Fosstone Productions president Bill Stone conceived a series of events consisting of wrestling stars from the 80s and early 90s fighting one another in a series of dream matches. He expressed his surprise that the WWF had not already put on such an event. You'll soon find out why. Stone intended to run 3 more pay-per-views run on a quarterly basis if an initial target of 40,000 buys was reached. Recruitment of the wrestlers began in May 1999. Sid Vicious was one of the first to be approached, and he recruited Michael Lombardi, promoter of Northeast Wrestling in New York, to act as booker. However, Sid was signed exclusively to WCW in June of that year, and so did not appear. Vader, Terry Funk, Bam Bam Bigelow, and the Honky Tonk Man were all approached, but declined. Additionally, Nick Bockwinkel was advertised.
I've heard his name somewhere. He's in the Hall of Fame or something, isn't he?
I'm sure he is, yeah. I think he's one of those, like, legends, kind of legends.
Yeah.
Like the Frank Gotch and all that kind of stuff.
Aye.
Nick Bockwinkel was advertised but did not appear. And due to WWF-owned trademarks, Yokozuna and the Bushwhackers were referred to with the affix former in all advertising. Now, this is actually an interesting part because one of the matches actually involved someone's debut, a wrestler known as Giulio Fantastico.
Oh yeah, this guy.
See, to be fair, we'll get to that point. We might have different opinions on this.
Yeah, we might. We've not. So we just watched the show together, and we kind of didn't really speak to each other about the show. I mean, we were laughing at bits we thought were funny, but mainly we've just took notes, and then now we're going to kind of compare notes and see. I think we'll have similar opinions, but it'll be interesting to see if we differ on anything.
We're just trying to pinpoint a method to the madness, I think. But to get back to the previous point, so Too Cold Scorpio was actually supposed to have a match with Reckless Youth in order to break up the solo matches with fast-paced action.
Mm-hmm.
However, Youth was signed to WWF at the time, and so he couldn't appear, which is why Julio Fantastico was asked to appear.
Right, I see. I wondered. I'd never heard of this Julio Fantastico guy, but we have now.
Yeah, for better or worse.
Yes. So we'll kick it off from the start of the show. And my first note I wrote was intro makes it seem pretty decent budget for 1999, and then because it was like aerial shots of like St. Louis, Missouri. It was like this good voice, like coming to St. Louis, it's the heroes of wrestling. And I was like, fuck this. I was like, this actually looks okay. Like, how is this one of the worst rated ones? And then there was pyro. Yeah. Which I thought I was not expecting any pyro.
You just thought it was just going to be like a black.
I thought it was going to be a black curtain in some sort of fucking sports hall in Bells Hill.
I think it was all generally high production, but what made me laugh at the start was obviously this is an independent promotion, and these are all former WWF stars, so they don't have access to the WWF library, and so the shots of them in ring is like them in a gym somewhere fighting each other. But apart from that, like, it's understandable with copyright issues and everything that they would go with that. But it just it was a bit strange to put that in amongst all these like high production shots of like the country around them. Yeah.
So from there we went on and we met the commentary team of Randy Rosenblum and Dutch Mantel.
Good old Dirty Dutch.
What was your thoughts on them two?
Dutch Mantel, throughout the whole event, it seemed like he was trying to like give a sense of, oh, this is all part of the show, like this is all meant to happen. Randy was just in his own wee world, I think. But he done better than one particular guest commentator that's appeared later in the show.
Yeah, right. We'll get to it. So, I mean, what did you have on your next note?
The start of match 1. Let's see. We have the Samoan SWAT team versus Marty Jannetty and Rip Rogers.
Now, this was straight off from the get-go. We were both confused and looking at each other because when after Randy and Dutch had done the re-intro into the event, then they said, we're going to go off to the first match. And it's the Samoan SWAT team versus Marty Jannetty, blah, blah, blah. But it just came up this title card with Marty Jannetty on it. And the Samoan SWAT team's music was playing. And it was just all very, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what's happening?
Samoan SWAT team appeared on the entrance ramp with the whitest guy in the world to manage them.
Yeah, that guy.
Some guy skipping down to the ring, yelling at people, and they're trying to be like serious and mean.
He was wearing braces and stuff as well. None of it made much sense. And then the white guy got on the microphone, and then he's shouting all sorts, and he was just cutting this really long, kind of pointless promo that I just couldn't. I honestly just I couldn't understand what the promo was entailed or designed to do.
I think the main point of the promo was to hype up the match because he's trying to get the crowd riled up. He's saying like, you all suck and you suck even more because you're cheering for Jannetty and Rogers.
Yeah.
The Samoan SWAT team are going to finish them, but it was all packaged in this weird jumbled mess of a promo where
it was hard to kind of.
He's saying a lot, but he's not really saying anything at all.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That's a good point.
And then, of course, Jannetty and Rogers are introduced, but only the Jannetty graphic is shown again.
I think by this point as well, Marty Jannetty's probably murdered a couple of people.
Oh, definitely.
In his life, he's some of the things he's admitted to, he has done by this point, or if not, in the process of doing.
Well, that's the thing. If he's admitted to the kind of crimes, what else is he not admitted to? Like, what is he keeping secret?
Oh, that's
terrifying.
That's to be left to the imagination.
If walls could talk, they would speak loads about that guy. But it was kind of weird because like Rogers is standing there and he looks like a professional athlete. He's got the trunks on, the full wrestling gear, and Marty Jannetty, he has this weird mix of. He's got wrestling boots and jorts on, and it's like
I kind of liked his look. I kind of like compared to what I seen him come back to WWE. It must have been years after that in like the mid 2000s. I remember he came back. And had a run for a bit. He was looking older, but he could kind of go.
Yeah,
I thought he looked better wearing them shorts than he did wearing the blue shit he wore when he first came back and was trying to do a program with Shawn Michaels.
I've not really seen the stuff for when he came back, so I can only come off of this. This is kind of, I feel like this is kind of part of my own kind of wrestling training, kind of seeping in here because so the trainer, he says he would not allow anyone to wrestle if they're just wearing like joggers or shorts or something.
Okay.
Because in his mind, it just kind of looks amateur.
Yeah,
you want to be seen as a professional athlete, so when I get told that, and then I see Jannetty with this jorts wrestling boot combo, I'm kind of, my mind's fucking going haywire.
It doesn't marry up how you want it to kind of marry up.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Billy Kidman, to be honest, without the vest. But maybe he's Billy Kidman's dad, and Billy Kidman's just some sort of love child. Maybe that's one of the secrets he's not admitted to.
Honestly, you never know. You don't know what's coming next. So whilst all this was going on, the only thought I was having was, Jesus, the commentary is woeful, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. It was to me, it just wasn't to my taste. I wasn't enjoying it. I had never heard of this Randy Rosenblum guy. I'd heard of Dutch Mantel, but yeah, the pair of them combined, I can't even recite what they were saying, but it was not good. It was not adding to my experience of that match.
There was a lot of weird, so you can kind of tell this match was rehearsed.
Well, yeah.
Because there would be times where, so for example, I've got in my notes here, Jannetty, good fire. He starts like doing the work on the Samoan.
He did do well. Like I don't think he looked like past it.
No, absolutely not. He looks like he could still go in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think it seemed to be more of a miscommunication because there would be times, like for example, where he's hitting a Samoan guy. I don't know what the Samoan guys' names actually are, so
Yeah.
I'll just say Samoan 1 and 2.
Okay.
Sorry, we're going to get cancelled first podcast. Samoan 1, he's taking the punches and he drops down and he rolls out the ring, and Jannetty he looks like he's going to start running for him, but then he stops, like someone's hit the pause button.
Okay, I never seen this.
And then, like, obviously another spot happens, but there was other times where I believe Jannetty tags in Rogers.
Yep.
Rogers goes in. He's about to run and hit the Samoan 1's tag team partner who's on the apron.
Yeah.
And he stops and waits for Samoan 1 to tag Samoan 2 in. And it's like, it seems like they planned these spots, but they were working at completely different paces from each other. I think Jannetty and Rogers did do well. I think the problem is they were working at a really fast pace and the Samoans were working at a really slow pace.
And it was just kind of getting muddled up in between it all.
Yeah, it was a bit messy, but see, compared to the rest of the show, it was actually a decent opener.
Yeah.
They tightened up a few things and I think it would have been decent.
There was one point where Jannetty got whipped into the corner and he took a terrific corner bump. I don't know if you picked up on that. Did you see that? Where he like bounced. I'd never actually seen that. That was the first time that was the first time I'd seen a corner bump done to that level. And obviously you've seen all the good ones. You've seen like the one Ric Flair takes, or you've seen like or it might be Shawn Michaels. One of them takes this one where they roll up a few people take a bump like that. They roll up and you think that that's the best one you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But then seeing that, I was actually quite pleasantly surprised at just how he done it. It was so creative, but it was nice. He banged into it on his back, but then he just kind of let himself bounce off and landed on his bum in the middle of the ring. And to me, it looked great. I just hadn't seen it.
It was just like the sheer impact of it makes it that much better. Like, it makes you tune in more to the babyface in peril, and it's like, oh, how's he going to fight back from this?
Yep.
If you really liked that one, watch a couple of Bret Hart matches because he takes it right to the chest and he just goes for it.
I think I've seen that a couple of times. It looks great.
The Bret's bump.
So from here, who went over? I didn't note down any winners. Did you?
Let's see. So I actually don't remember. No.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's immaterial. It's just we were just taking. We didn't go out to kind of document the whole.
It's not really a play-by-play that I think we're doing. I did try doing a play-by-play with my notes, but the issue with this event is, see, when you're trying to take notes on a particular spot, as you're writing the notes down, another spot is already happening.
Yeah, and you're missing things.
Yeah, it was. It's a bit of a cluster. The thing is, like, I feel like we would have remembered the finish if it was memorable, like some of the other finishes on this card.
Yeah, that's true.
So I do believe it was Jannetty and Rogers that went over.
Could have been.
Yeah.
But again, I'm fucking blanks. Anyhow, next up was Greg Valentine and George the Animal Steel. Now, all I've got in my notes here is that Greg Valentine is coming out looking like some sort of fucked up Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
You know Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Oh my god, he's one of the best actors of all time, man.
He died in 2014 or something.
Yeah.
Do you not think he looked like how his hair was all long and shit and he was kind of coming out? I was like, fuck, that's Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Now that you mention it.
It looked like Philip Seymour Hoffman risen from the dead and was walking to the ring.
Just, he rose up.
Aye.
But I don't know, like, I thought, is he trying to be like Ric Flair? With the gown and everything, that was weird.
The whole encounter was pretty weird, wasn't it?
Even the whole story behind it. So before the match even starts, we're treated to a video package of George the Animal Steel and Sherry Martel. They're in a casino. George is dressed up like he's someone's dad at a pub. Mm-hmm. And Sherry Martel, she's like trying to, take him on a walk with her, I think. And then he just like grabs at her gown, rips it open, and like you can just see her skin.
And you see like her bra and all that. And she's really...
Yeah, and then they just both run off camera. And then I don't know if that was meant to make the audience appeal to George, and I get the whole gimmick is that he's the animal, he doesn't understand, human behaviour, but I didn't get it at all. Like, this would make more sense if this was maybe a television show, like a weekly kind of show, and this was a storyline that was going on bi-weekly where we could actually see.
They tried to do this in the one night.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So they're doing all this in the one night, and we have no clue why Sherry Martel is going out with
I don't know
George
why she was there,
Steel.
what was going on.
Well, according to commentary, George is her protege, which I don't know what that's meant to mean. I guess it's the idea that I think it's meant to be like My Fair Lady, except with George, the Animal Steel. Like the rags to riches kind of thing, like how to look fabulous or something.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It was strange. The start as well, there was some old school 80s, it felt like an old school 80s kind of start. There was a lot of... Oh, do you hear that?
Oh, that's the Foxes.
The Foxes.
Yeah, they suck over here.
But it felt like an old school 80s match to begin with, which obviously it is going to be because that's the era that these guys are from, and that's how they're known, that's how they're blessed with starting out their kind of match. That's how they kind of always are going to do it. But to me, it just felt dated. It didn't feel like... it just didn't feel like what it should have been. It was pretty horrible.
The thing is that we have to remember as well, this match is taking place in 1999.
Yep.
So Stone Cold, The Rock, the Attitude Era is in full swing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, the presentation that is captured in the audience is a lot different from what this match is doing, which is, like you said, the classic kind of 80s match.
Aye.
And it was just more confusing with the story as well, because so the story of the match is that Greg Valentine, he's saying, I'm going to beat George the Animal Steel, and I'm going to steal your girl, Sherry. But then as the match continues on and on, it's revealed that Sherry Martel is actually on Greg Valentine's side.
Yeah, so she switches over. Like, there's a point in the match where Sherry starts, I think... Oh, yeah, what's it? So they tell George to take his top off, which was weird. The ref just starts going, take your top off, George, take your top off. So he starts taking off his top, and then he gets hit by Greg, and then he's down, and then he's lying on the kind of side of the apron part, and then Sherry comes over and starts kind of raking his eyes and choking him out, and it's like, what?
Aye, where did that come from? Aye. I think this is the part where the crowd started to get confused. Like, you can kind of see there was a sense of befuddlement in the air. Yeah,
I think so.
And to be honest, we were befuddled as well. Let's see. I'm looking through my... I'm actually reading through my notes here to see what the reasoning was. There's no really any real reason why she done it. Commentary says it was a conspiracy the entire time, but like I said, this is a one night show, and all we've seen is George pulling at Sherry's dress. Maybe that's why she turned on him.
Could be.
Maybe she's just annoyed that he ruined her fancy dress.
Maybe she was not into being exposed on pay-per-view to 29,000 viewers around the globe.
There was also a foreign object that was involved in the match.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. What was that? Like a pick? Like some sort of jail shank thing?
I don't know. It was wrapped in bandages. Sherry just pulled it out of thin air. And even as she hands it to Greg Valentine, the commentary goes, oh, a foreign object is in play. And it's like, yeah, but what's the foreign object? Like, is that a knife or something?
Yep.
But it doesn't matter because George gets hit and suddenly the crowd are behind George. Come on, George. Come on, George. Looking at my notes again, a few choice quotes from commentary. Sherry's face is a face an animal could have. And I think it was Randy was trying to explain Sherry's actions to Dutch Mantel, and it was, women, you know what they're like. Well, you don't know, but we know what they're like.
Yeah, when he was trying to imply they hadn't had a word, it was really of its time.
Yeah. And then towards the end, George knocks Greg Valentine to the ground, Valentine rolls out the ring. George collapses to the bottom rope. He's just lying there. And Sherry goes up and she like soothes him. She's rubbing his fabulous bald head in front of everyone. And we're all like, but you just turned on him. And to be honest, this is one of the funniest endings to a wrestling match I think I've seen. Like,
oh yeah,
she soothes his head. She goes off camera, and it's just George in frame. And out of nowhere, a chair enters the frame and just smacks him right in the noggin.
It wasn't even like your typical fucking chair shot, was it? It was like she'd like grabbed the back bit of the chair, holding it all folded up, and it was just like a wee dunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Dunk. It wasn't even like it wasn't anything to run home about, and then from there, what happened? They both ran up the ramp. They came back. They ran away. Greg came back. Something happened. I'm drawing blanks because I'd literally stopped taking notes after.
Yeah.
Sherry Martel turned on George.
So Greg the Valentine takes advantage of this glorious opportunity. The fact that George the Animal Steel has been hit in the back of the head with a chair in front of the referee, and no one has been disqualified yet. So Greg Valentine does a smart thing here, and he pins George for the 1, 2, 3. George goes apeshit. He goes on a rampage. He attacks Greg Valentine, and then he whips Sherry out of the ring.
God.
Well, he throws Sherry out of the ring, and she goes over the top rope, and George unleashes the animal that was held in by the whole match. He goes to the turnbuckle and he does his famous turnbuckle eating.
Oh yeah, he eats a turnbuckle. Styrofoam
Yeah,
beads come out of it, and
it was just. I'm surprised he's not choked on that at all during his
I wish
career.
he would have. I wish he would have. By this point, I was just bored, tired. I don't want to be mean. I mean, the guy's just trying to make a living, of course, but
If it makes you feel any better, he was actually in an Oscar-nominated movie.
Was he?
This time? Yeah.
was he?
Yeah.
What movie?
It's a Tim Burton movie, of all things.
George
The Animal Steel.
the Animal Steel was in a Tim Burton film.
Have you ever heard of the director Ed Wood?
No.
Ed Wood was a famous cross-dresser.
Okay, yeah.
And he has made what a lot of people recognise as some of the worst movies of all time. He was making The Room before The Room. Have you ever heard of Plan 9 from Outer Space?
No.
It's all his movies are basically terribly edited, awfully acted. The plot
Deliberately or just turned out that way?
Like, they just turned out that way.
Oh my
It
God.
just seems like, from my understanding of everything I've heard about Ed Wood and this movie about him, like, he was a very genuine filmmaker. He just wasn't a good filmmaker.
Right, okay, I see.
And so...
It was all heart, but...
Yeah. And Ed Wood is a biopic. It stars Johnny Depp in one of his actually good acting roles, and George the Animal Steel appears as like one of the freaks that's in his group kind of thing.
Okay, I see.
Really good movie.
Cool. So, after that, we had your man, Julio Fantastico.
Yeah.
In my opinion, had a pretty awful pre-match promo, from what I recall, from the note I took there. I said pretty awful pre-match promo. I didn't really go into any more details, but I remember him just kind of hammering down how angry he was and how much he was going to beat this guy, and then it was, I'm so angry, I'm going to beat this guy. And I was just like, what? Like, where is the direction in this?
I think the issue is with Julio was, I mean, this is the legends, the heroes of wrestling. All the great legends of wrestling are supposed to be at this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And Julio is making his debut against one of these legends.
Against Too Cold fucking Scorpio, who is a great worker.
Yeah, definitely. I think, see, the thing is, Julio, there are moments in the match where he's got the basics down.
Yeah.
But there's other points where you can see it's what pro wrestling professional wrestlers call being green.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of being green is not so much that you don't have the athletic ability to do it, it's the ability to perform at a high standard in front of an audience.
Yeah.
This Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view was not a good event for Julio to debut.
Yeah.
I think if he was to do more house shows, maybe if he'd done the pre-match before the event started,
Yeah.
he might have fared better. I think it had to do with nerves, to be honest. Because barring a couple of spots where things went wrong, I remember he goes off the ropes and then he puts his head down as if he was anticipating, like, you know, running underneath Too Cold Scorpio. And then obviously they bang into each other. There was
a good amount of miscommunication there, wasn't there? It felt like they weren't on the same page at points. It felt like maybe
exactly
they were missing what was being said or not, kind of.
I think the main issue was Too Cold Scorpio is a legend who is trying to wrangle in this newcomer.
Yeah.
Who's still learning the ropes. And see, to be honest, the best way to grow as a wrestler is to perform in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know what works with them and what doesn't, and it helps you get over the nerves. I will say, like, Julio, I think he'd done okay, but apart from these miscommunications and nearly wiping out
the
a
kid,
fucking toddler, yeah.
he got what happened? He got like a big back body drop over the guardrail.
Yeah.
And his leg just basically came down on this kid, like 8-year-old kid. Just get hit by his leg and totally decked it. And then the camera changed. And I was like, oh fuck! I wish we could see the aftermath of this.
You've never seen like true fear until you've seen this Wayne scream as this leg comes flying down towards.
I was literally taken out. So another thing I noticed, Too Cold came out with a big Goldie belt, the big World Heavyweight Championship. What was that all about? I couldn't make any sense in that. Was he ever a champ?
I don't think so.
Give it a
yeah.
Let's give it a search, because I had no idea why he came out with that belt. And at this point in time, WCW must have been using that big gold belt, the big World Heavyweight Championship one.
Yeah, WCW would have been in amongst the NWO invasion at this point.
Right, okay.
This is probably when NWO was becoming stale, to be honest.
Okay, like, I see, yeah.
Too Cold Scorpio. So it would have been Goldberg or Hulk Hogan or Kevin Nash.
Who would have had that belt at that point?
Yeah. Right, let's see.
What's it got?
Nice.
He's never had it. He's never had it.
He is a notable...
Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, no, he hasn't, no. It's a tag team championship.
ECW World Tag Team Champion, ECW World Television Champion, World Championship Wrestling. He was a tag team champion there, so he's never held Big Goldie.
He's never held the big fucking Goldie, but yet he came down to the ring with it.
I mean, I don't blame him, to be honest.
If you're coming out of a show like that, you got to be like, do you know what? I'm going to be the champ tonight.
Exactly. Can you imagine the conversation backstage? It's like, oh, Scorpio, that's a good replica you have. He's like, it's not a replica, brother.
it's mine.
I'm the champ. No, Scorpio, we can get in trouble. No, I'm the champ.
Another thing I picked up on is they both came out to the same entrance song.
That weird disco music. Like,
so this Julio came out, and then the music stopped, and then the exact same song came on, and Too Cold came out, and I was just like, what the fuck is...
With his big, nice replica, big Goldie belt.
Aye, it was just... It was hard to understand what the hell was going on. Like,
it made it seem like they were a tag team and they were locking horns for the first time. Like,
it felt like the whole night as well. They only had like 4 or 5 songs to choose from, and you kept getting that for each wrestler that was coming out. It was one of these 5 songs that they had that they were allowed to use.
And it's funny, like all the songs, they were so generic that they sounded like a rip-off of a popular song.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what was going on, but production was an absolute nightmare this entire show.
Yep.
More, but to be honest, apart from like Julio's performance and the spots that we've talked about, the only other thing that really stood out to me was the finish.
What happened there? I can't remember.
Too Cold Scorpio. He's got Julio down in the centre of the mats. Scorpio, he goes up to the top rope. He hits a flipping senton onto Julio. Now, see, in my mind, that's it. The match is over. Like, you've nearly decapitated the guy with this move. And so, Too Cold Scorpio, he goes back up to the top rope. This time with his back facing Julio. So, at first, you're thinking, right, he's going to hit, like, a moonsault or something. He ends up performing Jeff Hardy's Whisper in the Winds move and misses Julio.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, aye.
And it's just, I don't know, I feel like if you've already hit one dive, the match is over already, and to make it even worse, he's missed the second one, so the finishes fell flat. I don't know, I think there was an idea of a good match underneath the mess that happens.
Yep.
I think it had to do with nerves of this rookie and legend who is trying to wrangle him in.
The worst part was as well, they then went on to show us replays of the last two moves.
With the worst camera angles.
Yep. And it was like the one they showed for the second move, so he done this, what is it, the inverted flip into kind of like a leg drop. Mm-hmm. They showed that slow motion from a horrible angle when you could just see that he completely missed him, and then Julio went on to sell the face as if he'd been hit by the leg, and it was a hard watch, man. They weren't even, like, usually when you see it in WWE, you see when they do slow motion and right up to the point of contact, and then they speed it up and then it's all done and that's it, and smoke and mirrors, and you're like, oh my god, he got hit. And even if he didn't get hit, you it could fool you, like, it's good camera trickery, but this was just slow-mo all the way. You could see it clearly, and it just kind of ruined that little ending spot.
You want to know what would have fixed it? More camera flashes.
Yeah, more like if they had more angles to go between, and they could have like kept jumping between them. Do you mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like, because the first camera angle, it did make it look like he landed on his face, but then the second camera angle,
it just gives it away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not. I guess being 1999, obviously they'd have been more limited with stuff like that, with the cost of camera equipment, and being such a small kind of promotion, it would have set them back a bit to have a proper promotion there. And I think even WWE and WCW were in the infancy there with just the true trickery they could use with their cameras. They were still pretty old school when it came to how they were shooting things back then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I know what you mean. And I think now we're too used to there being about 30 different camera angles with every show we watch, and like constantly changing and chopping.
Yeah, definitely. But my main highlights of this match.
Yep.
We had a guest commentator.
I was just going to get to him as well.
Mr. Lou Albano.
Captain Lou Albano.
Captain Lou Albano, sorry. I mean, there was a lot to take in this event, man. Like, it felt like a fever dream.
Aye, and he was just...
He was in his own wee world.
I don't even know why he came out. I don't know why he was there.
Well, was he not there to like represent Julio in his debut match kind of thing?
Was he? Alright, okay.
I think that was the idea. So this young whippersnapper, he's going to become a legend. But Lou, being Lou, he just went off into like another galaxy.
Totally.
I've got one of my notes here actually. This was during one of his rants. I wrote, I don't know what Lou Albano is saying, but I know I felt it. Like,
that's a good one.
There was a lot of passion.
Yeah, there definitely was no ends of that.
There was a lot of passion, energy. He obviously loves the business. I just don't know what he was trying to say about the business.
Yeah.
But they then announced that he will be the commissioner of Heroes of Wrestling for future events. Spoilers to anyone who doesn't know this at all. There was no other events after this.
Sorry for ruining it.
Sorry. But Lou Albano is really... He got really emotional about that, to be honest. Like,
I mean, yeah, he put on a good fake cry towards the end. One of my favourite quote of this whole wee segment of when he was commentating... Sorry, I've totally deviated from what you're saying here. My favourite quote was, he was just screaming random shit, and one guy goes, "This is the greatest production ever," and you're just, and I was just looking at it, going, "Is it?
Really?
Is this the greatest? I'm trying to put myself in 1999. I mean, I was only a young boy in 1999, and I was definitely not watching this. But
no.
I'm trying to put myself in that position and trying to kid on. It's 1999, and I'm like, is this the greatest production ever? We can assure you it wasn't. But he was a bundle of energy.
Oh, definitely. And that shirts, by the way, like that looks like one of the shirts I would wear on holiday, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like a blue flowery shirt thing.
Pure tropical as hell. Trying to
It
pretend
was
to be
cool. It
Scarface.
was cool.
So on to the next match, I guess. Or match number 4.
Cheeky baby.
Yep, Sheiky Baby, Volkov, and the wrestlers formerly known as the Bushwhackers.
Now, Cheeky Baby was looking fucking old and shaky as fuck, man. I don't know if you've seen that, but even just from the minute you could see him on the top of the ramp, I was like, fuck. He should not be here.
Yeah, he looked stiff.
He was. He got in the ring and I looked at his leg, and his legs were kind of. Have you ever seen the condition called rickets?
No, what's that?
Like, if you Google it, you'll see it. But it's like when someone's legs kind of deform, and it's like they kind of go out. They go outwards and come in. Yeah, so type in rickets, and yeah, you see it. Like scroll down, see. So
oh my god!
Sheiky Baby's legs were kind of like that, in my opinion. Like they were starting to kind of go outwards.
Yeah,
he looked like he was in pain.
It kind of looks like a frog.
Yeah,
like I don't know. It was just that was a weird It was weird because like it starts off as like your typical like USA versus the evil.
Yeah, your typical kind of 80s like.
But then it kind of becomes like a variety show during this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Volkov decides to like sing the Russian anthem.
Yep.
And then Sheiky Baby starts like swinging these mounts a bit for some reason. Like
pure show of strength.
There was no rhyme or reason to it. He just, I don't know, like I think I'm hallucinating this, but I think they just appeared out of nowhere. I don't remember him bringing them to the ring.
I think Volkov was carrying them. I remember seeing Volkov put something down and I was like, what's this? I thought he was going to do a handstand on them. I was like, is he going to do a fucking handstand on this? I could not see him doing this. Is that what he's going to do?
I thought it was going to be a game of limbo, to be honest. Maybe Sheiky's rackets would have helped with that.
He just walked right under.
So after the variety show goes wrong, the crowd are chanting USA. Luke and Butch come out and they're doing the Bushwhackers shtick. They are the Bushwhackers in everything but name.
Luke and Butch.
Yeah.
You don't think have they always had weird haircuts like that, or was that so? Is that like you notice this? Like it kind of where their sideburns are, it's just completely shaved up the way, and then they've got this like it's the weirdest. I don't know if I don't know if they're cutting their hair like that, but I think it just looks really strange.
I'm going to be honest. Every time a Bushwhackers match has showed up when I'm watching the network or something, I skip.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever watched.
There's just
too much of older stuff.
Like I get that wrestling, like there's going to be hokey moments in it sometimes. Maybe something that's more comedic or something. I don't get this swinging of the arms and the tongue hanging out. Like I don't get it at all. They're just, I don't know. It just puts me off. I just kind of like thinking to myself, what am I watching when I see that? Yeah,
it's all very animated, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like it probably did work in the 80s, and it was probably good. And if you're a kid and you see all that, it's quite attractive. You're like, oh yes, look at this guy, yeah.
Definitely.
It's something you can emulate and copy, but like again, pulling it into 1999 and try to pull it off then when everything's grown and surpassed that era. It I mean, God, the crowd must have been struggling to get into it, unless you're like super fans, of course.
I mean, some of the crowd were into it as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe I'm the wrong one here, and I most probably am because Bushwhackers are in the Hall of Fame. So, score 1 to Bushwhackers, 0 to Jamie.
So, where did we go from here? Let me see. What have I got? I said these are some. Yeah, I wrote hilarious old man bumps going on. These guys shouldn't be in the ring. And that was happening. There was a few fucking just drops out of nowhere, just getting like punched and then doing a mad side bump after trailing back a few times, which was bad to watch, but honestly I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious.
I think what's made it funny as well was not just the bumps, but the strikes.
Yeah.
It was like, how when you're in a dream and you decide to punch,
and you
and it's
can't
like
get,
slow
you
as
can't
hell.
get your strength. You're like, fucking, oh, come here, you.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like that, like you're punching underwater or something.
Aye, and everything was like slow motion, and then the punch would connect, and then it was like fucking poof.
Yeah, exactly. It was just kind of funny. Sheik threatened to leave the match if the crowds kept chanting USA, so obviously the crowds kept chanting USA. And him and Volkov, they jump out the ring. They're about to walk up the ramp, but then they stop. And then they just decide to go back in.
Oh yeah, that was weird, aye.
I feel like that would have been a good opportunity for, see, the Bushwhackers. Like, Sheik and Volkov, they're walking up the ramp, they're going, no, to hell with this, we're not doing this anymore. And then the Bushwhackers chase them up the ramp, catch them and drag
And
them
throw
back
them
to the
back
ring.
in. Yeah, that would definitely have made more sense.
Yeah. More soft strikes were happening. This is when the match kind of broke me, like, because it was just kind of more, like, waddling about, falling everywhere. Sheik was spitting on fans at the ringside.
Yeah. the play. Just going hell for leather on people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another one. Volkov puts one of the Bushwhackers up for a slam. Commentary calls it a bear hug. Volkov slams the Bushwhacker, and the commentary calls it a soft slam.
A soft slam.
Fucking.
He was trying to do like a backbreaker. You could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to do a backbreaker and then drop him on his back, but he ended up doing this wee soft backbreaker, soft slam. But the commentary going, the soft slam, as if like
the most devastating move in professional wrestling.
Oh my god, he just gave him a soft slam.
Oh my god, he's got a family. God damn it,
the horror.
Somebody stop the bear match.
Which was, that was just for me that was enough. I mean, I'd already stopped kind of really paying attention, but I was just like, God. I just wanted these guys to get out the ring and go home. It was good they're getting a payday, but at the same time, just guys.
I tried to keep paying attention, and I kind of tapped out soon afterwards.
Yeah.
There was a weird moments where all four men, they're all in the ring. Bushwhacker 1's fighting Sheik. Bushwhacker 2 fighting Volkov. Volkov grabs Bushwhacker 2. Bushwhacker 1 grabs Sheik, and both of them throw their partners into each other. And
I think I remember this.
Like, they both kind of like whipped each other into the partner or something. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest. Like this is what broke me. Like, you seen me, like, I broke down into like a fit of giggles over this. I was just like, what is going on?
What the fuck is happening?
Like,
there's lack of communication.
Chris, we need to get the video fucking podcast up soon. I think we need to, like, my words aren't painting the perfect picture.
I know. It would be so hard to explain it without showing you. But yeah, we'll find a way to show people this.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else written about this match?
Yep. Pin out of nowhere. Awful, just awful. Sheik and Volkov argue in the ring. Manager makes them forgive each other and cuddle each other. They raise their hands as if they're the baby faces, and the crowds boos. I think that kind of sums it up, to be honest.
Fantastic, absolutely amazing stuff.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So next up, we had what? Sweet Stan Lee?
Yep, Sweet
Tully?
Stan Lane and Tully Blanchard.
Stan Lee? I said Stan Lee, Stan Lane, isn't it?
Stan Lee, the comic book writer.
Sweet Stan Lee. Stan Lee's coming out. So Stan Lane, who, I've never fucking heard of this guy, have you?
No.
I mean, I've heard of Tully.
Tully Blanchard, 4 Horsemen, yep.
Tully Blanchard, respectable. A great athlete. Tully Blanchard, actually, in his pre-match promo. Well, no, wait. First we seen Sweet Stan Lane trying to bundle Tully into the back of a limousine or something in a boot.
Yeah, so backstage, a limousine appears. One of the ring announcers, a backstage interviewer, is there to interview Tully Blanchard,
whose name was Michael St. John, by the way.
Michael St. John?
Michael St. John was that interviewer guy's name, which is...
Is a meaning behind this name? Or
no idea, just a mad fucking name, innit?
It's a cool fucking name.
Michael St. John?
Yeah. It sounds like a fucking movie, to be honest. Give me a Michael St. John down here right now. Michael St. John. He's about to interview Tully Blanchard, who has exited the limousine. And then Stan Lane appears out of nowhere, and as you said, he attacks Tully Blanchard and tries to stuff him into the boot.
Mm-hmm. Which was weird.
The guy who's supposed to be interviewing does his job. He doesn't really try to stop the assault happening in front of him. He decides to commentate the assault. And then, for some reason, instead of cutting to the match, we think, okay, like, we get the reason why they hate each other. It cuts to Tully Blanchard. He's doing a promo outside afterwards. He's bleeding, apparently, from the attack, and he talks about how he's bringing his hatred for Dusty back when he was in the Four Horsemen out, and that hatred is what's gonna get him to beat Stan Lane. It was a good promo towards the end. It seemed like he was trying to find his words at first, but you kind of get the gist of it by the time he ended it. And so we go on to the match.
So, I have written Stan Lane just announced himself in the ring. Awful.
I love that, to be honest.
He came out. He came down the ring. He was wearing his wee Ric fucking Flair jacket.
Yeah.
He was loving himself. He got in the ring and then he started going on about how he's been presenting on ESPN and he's been presenting for the WWF. And I'd never seen him in WWF, so I don't know if he had.
Yeah.
But then he proclaimed that he's going to announce himself in the ring, and he done his whole announcing shtick, and it was in my opinion just fucking shit. He was just like trying to like rip off like Michael Buffer from the boxing and trying to do it like that, and it was. If he was kidding on, it would look good, which he probably was. It probably was all part of his character, but just for me, I was just like that. But it made me hate him. So he done a good job. Like,
I do enjoy the idea of a delusional heel who thinks they're cool, but they're just lame.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great because even if him in his head is loving himself and thinking, I'm such a good heel right now, when people think he isn't, it still works.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even when you think you're doing well, it still works if you're being hated, and it's the beauty.
To use a modern day example, Bailey, when she first turned heel,
okay,
she was still, remember when she first started, she was a nice girl hugging everyone.
Yeah, like kind of Mickey James style.
Yeah, she was still kind of playing that character, but she was kind of healing it up a bit, where the crowd were booing her, and she was going, "No, why are you guys booing me? I'm just trying to show your kids what a real role model looks like." It reminded me of that kind of thing. Like,
yep.
Tully Blanchard gets his entrance pretty decent. He gets fireworks because Four Horsemen.
Yep.
They deserve it. As he's going down to the ring, Stan Lane, still holding microphone, announces he is going to ride Tully Blanchard like Seabiscuit.
I've totally missed this, did he?
Yeah, which produced many horrible thoughts in my mind.
Yep.
And by this point, you could see the crowd were just over this. Like,
yeah, no one was interested. They then proceeded to keep showing females in the audience because obviously they were trying to paint Sweet Stan Lane as a kind of ladies' man, a kind of Val Venus type. So they kept showing these females in the audience who just could not look more disinterested in what they had been dragged to see.
Yeah.
They all looked so bored. And then the commentators were like, "Oh my God, look, she's got Stan Lane on her mind. She's thinking about Stan Lane." And you're just like, "No, man, they're not. They look so fucking bored and they're just gazing into space."
They're thinking about, when is this fucking event going to end?
I can't believe I fucking came to this, man. Why have I came to this?
Can I get my money back?
It's exactly how we were feeling. If you'd have put the camera on us at that point, we would have looked similar to how them poor women were feeling.
Oh, definitely. And see, to be honest, like, that's the worst reaction you can ever get as a wrestler. People say John Cena was a bad babyface because people booed him. No, like, he still got a reaction at the end of the
that's
day.
a good point, yeah.
It doesn't matter if the audience loves you or hates you. What you need to do is make it work. And to Cena's credit, he made it work for a really, really long time.
Yeah, you need to get something going when you're in there. If you're working, whether you're supposed to be a babyface but you're getting heel treatment, you've got to
Yeah,
Get some sort of action. Get the place. Get the electricity going.
exactly. The faces that they showed is a wrestler's worst nightmare.
And they kept showing them as well. There was like 2 or 3 and each ones. They thought, right, surely they'll stop now, and then they just kept like pushing it on you, and it was just like, don't do this. You're killing.
Yeah,
You're killing the show even more.
the match psychology was all over the place as well. Tully Blanchard, the supposed face of the match, is raking Stan Lane in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Heel move. At one point, they are brawling outside. Now you're thinking that Tully is going to like try to get Stan Lane back in the ring so he can beat him clean, and he applies a figure 4 leg lock on the outside. The ref is counting to 10. This is a normal singles match.
Mm-hmm.
Pin in the ring, submission in the ring, or you get counted out, or DQ. Like the normal rules.
Yeah.
Why is Tully Blanchard, the veteran in this match, applying the figure 4 leg lock on the outside? Like, I'm sure there's been many people who have done much worse to him.
Yeah.
I guess this kind of goes back to the hatred of my hatred for Dusty is coming for you, Stan Lane kind of thing. But I don't know, there was just not much heat in the match.
Nah.
And
There wasn't much heat in any of the matches, really, was there?
I think the only one would have been what I think we considered the best match of the night, which wasn't really by a large
Best
margin,
of
to
a
be
bad
honest.
bunch, yeah.
Yeah, but it was just weird. And then let's see, what else have I got?
I put it that it was the most awkward, strange ending ever,
Oh my god, yeah.
which it was.
Stan Lane, he performs a back suplex onto Tully Blanchard. Now, from our angle in the camera, we see Tully Blanchard's shoulders on the mat.
Yeah.
The ref counts to 3. Stan Lane, he's celebrating, but then the ref goes, no, 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 no. He raises Tully Blanchard's hand up as if he's won.
Yeah, that I just couldn't understand that. And then Dutch Mantel went on to explain what had happened, and I was like, when Dutch Mantel went on to explain what happened, I thought, wow, good save by Dutch. They've absolutely fucked up this ending, and he's just come up with this mad lie in order to save face. But then they showed the footage, and it was actually what happened. So both men's shoulders were down.
Tully Blanchard kicked out, and Stan Lane pinned himself.
Just
to end the
fucking
match.
weird. Like I just can't. I can't ever imagine why you would want to end a match like that. It just wasn't like exciting. That the whole place was flat already. Did they think that was going to fucking pep things up? Like
Like, the thing is, like, see, when you're wrestling a match, you should always have, like, an ending, a way out planned.
mm-hmm.
These are 2 legends that have been in this business for God knows how long at this point. This is the ending they thought was good.
Just piss poor, innit, really?
I guess they're trying to go for a controversial kind of thing. Like, I
Bit
don't know if this
different,
was
not
maybe
really
like
done.
I don't know if this is like a controversy to set up match number 2 at the supposed future Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view, which never happened. But I don't know, like, it didn't work at all. This match fell flat. The crowd were dead. There was not really any psychology to the match at all, to be honest. It was just poor, especially considering who was in the ring as well.
Do you have any more about that match you want to talk about?
No. After this match was another state of confusion that we entered.
So we were introduced to, next up, it was going to be the one-man gang versus Abdullah the Butcher.
Well, before that, there was a backstage promo.
Oh, okay.
It was, hold on.
You got me covered here.
So I believe, who was Jake the Snake supposed to fight at the start of the night? Was it just Jim Neidhart?
I believe it was, yeah. I believe at the start, I remember it being advertised as Jake the Snake versus Jim the Anvil.
So the idea was, and I'm sure this was presented at the start when they showed the match card, Jake the Snake was scheduled to fight Jim Neidhart in a one-on-one singles match.
Yeah.
Yokozuna was supposed to fight King Kong Bundy in a singles match as well.
As the main event.
We cut to a backstage promo of Jim Neidhart and hold on, King Kong Bundy cutting a promo on Jake the Snake and Yokozuna. And I was kind of like, Is this a tag team or what's going on?
What's happening here?
Yeah. Neidhart cuts a promo about how Jake better not to bring Damien down to the ring. He doesn't want to see any zoo animals, and that includes giraffes. As if, a giraffe's just going to be cutting about backstage at the Casino Magic.
The Casino Magic. What a fucking name.
But apart from that, it was just we moved on to the No Holds Barred match between One Man Gang and Abdullah the Butcher.
And the One Man Gang was really not looking good. He was looking fucking haggard.
He looks
Abdullah,
like a big bag of milk.
he did look like a big bag of milk. Abdullah looked very much the same. And it just was not, oh God, it was just, I think we knew what was going to happen with this. We knew it was going to be bloody. We knew they were just going to fucking do all the usual spots. But it just, to me, all I really remember is One Man Gang wrapping a chain round Abdullah's face. Abdullah bleeding within at least 1 minute into the match. He was already bleeding.
Yeah.
They then had done the fork spots. They got the fork out and started hitting each other with the fork. And it was just kind of back and forth like that. There was no real wrestling going on.
Mm-hmm.
For what it was, I mean, yeah, if you're there to see that sort of thing, it's good. But, I mean, you expect that from an Abdullah the Butcher match. You expected it to just kind of go like that, just to be the blood, the shock factor. And
yeah.
Apart from that, there wasn't really anything strung together to make it any more interesting.
Abdullah the Butcher used to scare me.
Did he?
See the marks on his forehead, it just made me think that Freddy Krueger patted him on the knees or something.
Yeah, I remember being younger and kind of seeing Abdullah and being like, oh, what the fuck's up with his head?
Aye, the pure indents.
Aye,
it was always a pure creature for Star Trek.
Yeah, it was always pretty scary seeing his face, but that's, don't blade, kids. Don't blade yourself.
Especially around Abdullah the Butcher, fuck's sake. Speaking of which, one Rocky fan got his fork during the match.
God, Jesus.
That fan soon had hepatitis afterwards.
Do you have any more to add about this? I literally...
This match was a nothing burger.
Oh, wait. Abdullah came out to no music, which was weird.
That happened a lot of times. Production was an absolute nightmare, this whole event. Microphones were getting cut out and all sorts. And as we mentioned before, the camera angles were showing blatant botches at the end of the day.
The worst part for me about this match was that they basically started fighting outside of the ring, and then from outside of the ring they ended up moving kind of backstage, and then that was just kind of it. Was the match done? Was it over?
Oh, it was a no contest.
Yeah, it was just so weird. It was, I couldn't understand why they've just the no disqualification blood brawl was deemed a no contest because they started brawling next to the announce table. Yeah, the commentary. Abdullah's head gets slammed into the announce table, so there was blood there. They're like, get them out of the way, get them out of here. Yeah. And then they end up fighting backstage. The cameras don't follow them, and it's just deemed like a no-con. Yeah. The sense, I don't know where the sense is. It seemed like they were trying to do the whole Godzilla versus King Kong, two monsters on a rampage kind of thing. But yeah. Ring crew were sacrificed on the altar of these legends as well. I'll say ring crew is a tough job. You've done that before, yeah? Yeah, and I've been dealt the same fate. Taking some bumps. Yeah, they say we're there to keep the audience safe. We're not. We're there to tire the wrestlers out so the other wrestlers can stop them. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so from there, I didn't have anything else about that match. I moved on to the next backstage segment, did you? Yeah. Okay, from there we went on to Snooker and Albano in a backstage segment. Now again, Snooker is standing there, very much like Jannetty, looking like a guy that has committed murder at some point in his life. When did he commit murder again? It was in his Dark Side of the Ring episode. There's an episode about Snooker, and apparently there's what? He's killed his missus. Apparently he killed someone. Yeah, I don't know if it was his wife. I can't remember fully. We'll probably do an episode on this at one point. But yeah, definitely. I believe that there was a claim out there that he'd murdered someone at one point. Aye, because I remember Vince bailed him out or something. Anyway, we're getting just terrifying. Fuck Jimmy Snooker. He's a murderer. Rest in piss. Well, we go into the backstory behind this match. Jimmy Snooker and Bob Orton were involved in a card game earlier. Oh, yeah. Bob Orton claims that Jimmy Snooker was cheating, and so
they start to fight, and the match is set up. Ho is back with Snooker. Once again, Ho, full of passion and energy.
Just absolute crazy, man.
Don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He claims that Snooker can suplex Bob Orton with his knees.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that was a bad fucking statement.
listen, it's Ho's world. We're just living in it. We also get another promo from Bob Orton who says, "You're calling me a cheater, but I'm going to beat you up, blah, blah, blah." We go on to the match. Orton's music comes out. I just realised, like, that's Randy Orton's dad. When I said that there. Bob Orton's music plays, and it sounds like... Have you ever heard that Iggy Pop song, Nightclubbing?
Yes. Yep.
It sounded exactly like that. Maybe it's just... To be honest, I'm deaf in one ear, so maybe I'm hallucinating this or something. But that's what it reminded me of. Nothing really happened with his entrance. Jimmy Snooker's music plays, and we see shadows in amongst the smoke coming out. And there's one that's like waddling out, and I'm like, fuck, Jimmy Snooker's in poor shape.
Yeah.
Out of the mist appears Lou Albano.
You're like, Jesus. I'm back again, Lou? You're back again? You're back for more?
He's a commissioner. What can you
he's
expect?
He's a main man around these parts.
He needs to make sure this this event goes off without a hitch, okay? Just making sure everything's running smoothly. Jimmy Snooker walking behind him. He's not really doing anything.
No.
I think he's just wrestling with his guilty conscience at this point, to be honest.
Yes.
Let's see. This is how I know Jimmy Snooker's the one that cheated in the card game, okay? Now, the way this whole match played out, Bob Orton was the heel, if I'm to guess correctly. Jimmy Snooker had his back turned to Bob Orton for a good minute to take his entrance gear off and take it to the outside. Bob Orton had a very long opportunity to hit him from behind, and he never. You want to know why? Because Bob Orton never cheated. He's a man of honour, and he's not a murderer. Justice for Bob. I cracked the case, folks.
Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to this one part of where we play detective.
So, this match got underway, and I honestly thought that Snooker and Orton had good pacing about it. They didn't rush things. They were going slow. Orton was working the arm for a good bit, despite Snooker being close to the ropes. But, I mean, in terms of how they paced the match, it was good. I don't remember a match that anybody was into, but it had a good quality about it. They weren't both so past it. They could still kind of work.
Yeah,
it was still kind of believable to a degree. They weren't rushing through things. They weren't just doing spots. It was kind of like nice and slow and a kind of build up to it.
This was, without a shadow of a doubt, the match of the night.
Yeah.
It
was still shite, but I mean, it was match of the night.
Yeah, there was a bit near the start of the match where Snooker tries to do a crossbody onto Bob Orton. He overshoots it, and so there was like an awkward pin attempt. Yeah. Another botch. Bob tried to clothesline Snooker over the top rope. Snooker kind of stretched over it and just like fell forward and rolled out the ring. That was
hard. That was a hard one.
Yeah, that sucks when that happens, by the way. Like, fucking hell.
Have you been involved in an altercation like that?
Yes. The guy didn't hit me hard enough, so I've ended up like Snooker, and it honestly feels a bit like a yoga session. Like,
just a back stretch.
I literally had to... Well, see, to be honest, when you're performing this, you're supposed to take off as well when the person...
But like throw yourself?
Yeah, exactly. You're jumping back. It's almost like a backflip.
Okay.
But this was my first time doing it, and me and Gravity don't agree. So I was just kind of like, you just need to fucking leather me.
Yeah, you need to get
and eventually it happened, but I feel Snooker's pain during that botch there. Let's see. There wasn't really much else that was wrong with this. The only thing that I really had an issue was, like you said, Orton working the arm really well, getting the heat going, getting the people behind Snooker. He's applying different holds. Is that the metronome?
Yes. I don't know why that came on.
Just like the metronome that was playing, there was a pace going on to the match. Bob Botton, he's building the heat, he's reapplying different holes to the same arm, wearing it down, and Snooker breaks out. He does the babyface like comeback.
Yep.
And I believe what happened at the end again?
The end of the match?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so there was something weird happened where Jimmy Snooker, yes, Big Lou makes his presence known once again.
The Albano got back involved.
Yeah. Well, see, to be honest, he was involved in other cases during this match. Like, while the action was going on in the ring, it was cutting to Lou Albano shouting to people in the crowd. Once again, don't know what he's saying. It's just
going all sorts of crazy.
Pure energy. Yeah.
Yep. full of beans at all hours.
I aspire to be like Lou Albano. Like, I just say whatever the fuck I want and people just listen. Like, that's the way it should be. But then it gets to the end of the match. Jimmy Snooker climbs the top rope for the signature splash. Bob Orton attacks. Now, Bob Orton, he goes up to the top rope. He's about to superplex Jimmy Snooker off the top rope.
Yep.
Lou Albano grabs Jimmy Snooker by the foot.
Yep.
Bob Orton falls off by himself, takes a bump. Snooker's recovering on the top rope. Bob Orton realises Lou has done him dirty. He goes to attack Lou Albano, and he hits his arm off the rope. He misses Lou Albano.
Yep.
Hits his arm off the rope, and he sells it. The rope's hurt, but they don't hurt that much.
Yeah.
This gives Snooker the opportunity to hit the signature splash. 1, 2, 3, match is over.
All done. Then it leads us to my favourite point of this match.
The chant.
Yes. We then were treated to the crowd chanting Bob as a faggot.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, which was... I didn't know what they were saying at first, but then it started to become clear. I was like, oh my god, Bob was a faggot.
I remember we kind of looked at each other like that shocked, like the doll face kind of look. Well, we're both like...
I mean, it was the 90s.
Different terror, like...
Yep, it was another world. Probably wouldn't happen now, that chant in today's...
Are you sure you want to like say this on our first podcast, that words? Like, even if you were quoting people?
No, we can say it. We're just quoting someone.
Yeah, you're in the presence of a bye anyway, so...
Plus, we don't even know if this is going to be our first one. We could probably have another before
it's
this.
It's okay. I'll give you the effort pass.
We can say whatever we want in this. It's our show.
It's okay, folks. He's got a gay friend here. Backstage...
Okay, so Jake is with Michael St. John.
The promo, the classic.
This is the one. This is how you sold watching this event to me. You told me, "Oh, it's Jake the Snake," and it's the promo that Jake the Snake does, and it's like fucking hilarious. He's talking about playing blackjack and stuff like that. And I'd never seen it, and I didn't look it up before watching this because I thought I just want to be surprised and just see it for the first time, like with you.
And what were your thoughts?
Fucking just mad. It was just hard. So to set the scene, Jake kind of comes on and he's looking pretty drunk. Like let's not be about the bush. He's looking like he's had a few drinks.
Rather dishevelled.
Yeah, he's looking a bit fucking like he's like, like hands on his head and yeah. I can't remember what he actually says. Do you remember the quote of the promo?
He says, "If you want to gamble, you have to accept that there's a chance that you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And I don't like losing. So why are you at the casino place?" He then goes on to say that he's a cheater. He'll do anything to win. And to give an example, if you want a game of 21, he's got 2 more of those.
No, he said, "You want a game of blackjack? Or if you got 21, I got 22.
That's it. Yeah.
You got... Yes, I can't even fucking remember.
That doesn't even make sense.
You want to gamble? I got 2 of those too. And you're just like, what the fuck is this guy even talking about?
But 22, like, if you get 22, you lose.
You're bust.
Yeah, so the cheating doesn't work then. Like,
But by this point, this guy was pretty bust, man. He was pretty...
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he seemed at the end of his road. He was way past the end of his road, but he looked pretty leery. He looked fucked up. He didn't look sober. I can it was a shame. It's sad to talk about the guy like this but at least we know now he's made a full recovery. He's not as in a bad place, which is good.
Yeah, it's a feel good story at the end. Well,
yeah.
I think it's a good example for people that obviously Jake the Snake, he's had his demons over the years, especially with how he was brought up. I think it is a good lesson for people who are in a similar position that if you are going through anything tough, whether it's substance abuse, emotional abuse from family, friends, or anything at all, like there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a difficult journey for you. But with the right help and the right motivation behind it all, you can like see it through.
Yeah,
and props to Jake. Like,
yeah, Jake's a shining example of that. But when you go back and you watch old stuff featuring him, yeah, it's
rough.
It is very rough. He's in a bad place.
There's also I did kind of laugh at how he introduced Damien.
How did he do that?
He presents his hand to the floor and he goes, "Here's Damien," and it's just a bag.
Just a big rumpled up bag of snake.
I'm just picturing like what would happen if someone accidentally stood on that. Just pure chaos.
So let's move on to the match then. So my first thing that I noticed was Jake came down to the ring. Well, Jim came out first, yeah?
Yes.
Jim came out first. Jake came down to the ring, done a lap, got in the ring, put Damien down.
In a very rough manner.
In a very rough way, yeah.
Yeah.
Tied the bag. And then he just walked back up the ramp as if he was going to go. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
I wonder if... I don't know his inner workings behind that match. Like, I don't know what happens backstage during the event. If I was to guess, it might have been panic or something, or I don't know, something made him want to get back there. This wasn't a case of this is part of the show kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was.
Who knows?
It was just weird. The commentary said it was psychological warfare, but
yeah,
he's just left a bag in the ring and he's just walked back up. Like, he's not really done anything.
But anyway, he came back out, he had his top off.
In a very brighter mood.
Yeah. He went backstage for some fucking... for a wee pick-me-up.
Aye, exactly.
That's maybe what happened there.
Hair of the dog.
He went backstage for a wee something of anything.
Yeah.
And he came back out, top off, went round the ring, grabbed a lady who was ringside, made her rub his nipples.
Yep.
He loved that.
As you do.
Yep.
At a wrestling event.
Oh, of course. And then he got back in the ring, and he was, for lack of a better term, good to go. Somewhat good to go.
Yeah, somewhat good to
If
go.
If Jake the Snake in that era is ever good to go, this is about as good
to go
as he looked.
Good to go, considering the circumstances of his condition.
Yep.
His inebriated state.
Yep.
It wasn't a good match. It was...
No. The whole thing was just zapped of energy.
I feel like the crowd were just defeated by this point as well. Like,
yeah. Jim looked like good shape. Jim was still pretty buff. He could move. Like he didn't look dishevelled, and you kind of, there's a part of you that feels kind of bad for him because he's then now robbed of.
He looked so out of place compared to everyone else at this event. Like, everyone, whether it was by the way they looked or the way they moved, you could tell this was past a sell-by date. Jim Neidhart looks like a proper athlete in amongst all of this, and it is a shame because I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves. So obviously Bret Hart and Owen Hart.
Yeah.
The Hart family, like, incredible athletes throughout the whole lot of them. Stu Hart as well. And I don't know, I think maybe we just need to give Jim a wee bit more appreciation, especially for working shows like this.
Give Jim his flowers.
Exactly, yes. He remained professional. Like, he could have just went, fuck this, I'm not doing this. Just walked out.
Yeah, he managed to keep it going.
Yeah.
And then there was another point where Jake finally got the snake out and he was acting like the snake was his dick, which was just fucking weird. That's when we started to see that, oh, Jake's really fucked up here. Like, he's doing some shit that's just, like, there's kids in the audience and all that, and he's parading with this snake about as if it's his dick.
He's using it as, like, a phallic prop.
A phallic prop. And then from there, he lay down with the snake, and he was licking it and all that, and that was just, like, I was like, right, okay, he is.
Aye.
He is where he is.
You can understand why, then, that King Kong Bundy decides to come out, and...
Yep.
it was weird. I feel like there should have been like a more smoother way to transition it to a tag match, because what happens is King Kong Bundy comes out, he's yelling at ringside to Jake. But eventually him and Jim Neidhart, they both double team Jake in the corner.
Yeah.
Yokozuna comes out and he just kind of stands there watching them beat him down, and then he goes to attack, and then that's when we hear the bell. The announcer goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's now a tag match," and it's like,
What's
okay,
going on?
so this is kind of like spur of the moment. How do we, put out this fire quickly?
Yeah.
Um,
It was all just so weird, and you could tell that obviously behind the scenes there was a lot of chat going on, because they must have seen what we seen and seen Jake's in a bad way. We need to figure out how we're going to save this.
Oh, definitely. Jake done a drunk Hulk Hogan impression.
Did he? I never seen that.
He was like putting his hand to his ear and he was
wow,
stumbling about. And then I believe after this, some guy appears, bald head, white shirt. And
Like mini King Kong Bundy.
to close in at first, commentary goes, "Who's this guy?"
So they didn't even know who he is.
Who's this guy? But then someone goes, "Oh, he looks like King Kong Bundy. It must be a mini Kong." Because that's how genetics and like your offspring work. Like, see if they looked exactly like you. King Kong Bundy's bald. I can't speak now. This event has broke me. King Kong Bundy is bald. This random guy is bald. He's his son. So see, the next time I see someone with grey hair, I'm just going to claim them as my own. In fact, Chris. Oh my God, Chris.
Are they coming in?
To tell you. Huh?
And my grey hair's coming in.
You might be my love child. Kind of some shenanigans happen. The match. See, to be honest, like, I gave up taking notes at this point.
This is when we both stopped taking notes. We were so tired at this point. We decided that fuck, we've just wasted 2 hours and 30 minutes of our life. My highlight of the whole match was when the small baldy guy came out, the crowd started chanting, "Uncle Fester."
Oh my God, yeah.
Uncle Fester. That was great. That was a perfect way to end it.
I enjoyed
It sent me home happy.
Did anything happen? Oh yeah, what was it?
So the match ended. They were trying to get Jake the Snake to give Uncle Fester a DDT, and for some reason he didn't do it. I don't know why. Anyway, Yokozuna throws him off the ropes, picks him up, does a Samoan drop, and that was their way of sending the crowd home happy from that.
I think the crowd was sent home happy because they could go home.
I definitely would just be happy to be leaving.
Yeah.
That would be one of them events where I would just end up getting super drunk at, just because you'd want to just enjoy yourself as best as you could.
I'd have to take it further. I'd have to take like DMT or something. Like, I'd have to ascend to another existence.
Get on hardcore psychedelics just so to make it something pleasing for your eyes.
I'd have to be on the same wavelength as Old Olu, to be honest. Like,
oh, Captain Insano.
Yeah. So, yeah, everyone, this is one of our first podcasts. We are obviously ironing out the kinks of ourselves.
Yep.
Hopefully we've done a better job than Heroes of Wrestling.
I mean, I mean, this is a good thing, is it? I mean, we get to watch these horrible events and kind of critique them and go through them, but I dare say down the path of doing this podcast, we're going to get to watch some really good events too, and some really enjoyable matches that is right up our street, because that's what we do in our spare time anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe that. See, the thing is, like, there might be someone out there who does enjoy this event. You don't have to take it to heart what other people think as well. Like,
yeah, these are just our opinions. We're quite easy going when it comes to it, and the main reason why we want to do episodes like this is just to discuss our own opinions. I mean, we talk about wrestling
all the time.
The time when we're together, so we just thought this is the right place to kind of put it across, watch good episodes, bad episodes, and just
maybe even keep up with some of the current stuff that's going on.
Yeah, definitely. That would definitely be on our spectrum as well.
It's no, like, wrestling is like, it is an art form, and see, the thing is, like, you can't let one bad event like this to taint any of these guys' legacy, to be honest. Like,
yeah, these
everyone
guys
has a bad day. Of
course, and each one of these guys will all have been involved in great stuff as well in the past.
Yeah.
And we're not coming on here to just purely shit on them, but like, this whole event as a whole was pretty laughable, and it entertained us for it being bad.
I don't know. I've just kind of find it sad that some of these guys, like, I'm just thinking, like, one of these guys had their last match at this event, and I don't know, like, do you remember the Undertaker documentary when he said he wants to end his career on a high note?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what every wrestler kind of wants, and I don't know, like, in the end, I think it's a blessing to be on. Like, you can't just make an event happen out of thin air, like, and it just kind of shows how much is involved in creating a wrestling event. Being a part of, like, staff at live shows, the amount of work that goes on, not just from the wrestlers themselves, the referees, the ring crew, the merchandise, even like people working the lights, music, everything. What makes wrestling special is that there's so many people involved to create these memorable moments. And at the end of the day, Heroes of Wrestling might not be the best wrestling event of all time, far from it, but it will definitely go down in history as one of the most memorable.
That's for sure. That's definite. Well, that's all for this week.
Right, thank you very much, folks, and see you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.